Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Are the United States of America acting like a wounded animal? Are the United States of America just acting the way a superpower, the strongest guy in the parking lot acts? Is there a shift in the European allegiance? Are they trying to break out of the Al Capone's plantation? The Russians have been working on building another pole of power on this planet, and the other side doesn't like that a bit. What's going on here? Well, a lot of things are going on here, and I will start with Russia. Russia will not be represented at Trump's Board of Peace. Remember, the Russians were invited by Trump, together with other 50 countries, to join this, as I call it, new UN organization. Obviously chaired by Trump forever and ever, with his family. It's going to be a hereditary position. And Russia said, yeah, we're thinking of, if you accept to use our billions of dollars frozen in the West. Because Trump says, well, you want to participate in my dinner and my speech? You got to pay the dinner. You got to pay for your plate right there. And the price is $1 billion for all the countries that are going to show up. Now, the representation on the board is not that you are an equal. No. You are a vassal. And I allow you to come over and join me into the plundering of something, which is going to be the globe. This is what's going on. But the Russians did not send anybody to represent them at this Board of Peace meeting that Netanyahu supposedly will take place. But Netanyahu, I think, has an arrest warrant, so does Putin. And one of the reasons why Ukraine did not or refused to participate or be part of this board is because they said we can't sit at the same table with a war criminal, which is, according to them, Putin. But so is Netanyahu, but they didn't say anything about him. If Putin is a war criminal and the other guy meets the same standards, the both of them have arrest warrants issued on them by the ICC, International Criminal Court of Hague. And it seems like these guys ignore that one and they look only at this guy. That tells me that's selective justice and outrage. So that's the first topic. The second one, why didn't China protect Venezuela from the US? And this is asked by the Russians. This is weird. I'm gonna explain. Now, Russia is preparing oil lifeline to Cuba. You can't even protect your own oil shipments and shadow fleet sailing under the Russian flag. How are you going to prepare a lifeline for Cuba? I don't know yet, but we're going to find out, I guess. Finally, the Europeans are saying this out loud. They knew it, but now they are saying it, which is Russian energy cut key to the European Union economic sorrows, sadness. Why? Who made you do that? No values. Why? This is Macron. Why? Because Mr. Macron is visiting, not Mr. Macron, a senior foreign official visits Minsk. So the idea that we are somehow, the West, they use this, are somehow moral and ethical, and we are the right ones and the other guys are the wrong ones, or the evil ones, or the good and the evil. You don't talk to dictators, you don't talk to war criminals, you don't talk to tyrants, or you are. They are. So this thing is just baboonish. But nevertheless, the European Council President backs the European Union retaliatory steps against the United States tariffs. We'll see how far they can go. And then the United States of America, that's why I said, might appear to be acting like a wounded animal, urged Mexico and Canada to drag China in a trade war. Because that's how it works. I have an enemy or someone I want to plunder, but I can't do it by myself directly because I'm not that strong. Or maybe I'm that strong that I don't need to. Okay? So then I'm trying to use auxiliary forces. The problem is I scared the auxiliary forces so bad that they want out. So therefore they're going to make contacts with the enemy, my enemy, not their enemy, my enemy, not their enemy anymore. And I come and tell them, hey, you want to smack? You are supposed to follow my policy. And we'll see what's going on with Canada and Mexico. So let's start with the first topic. Sputnik. Today, the 12th of February 2026. Russia not to be represented at Trump's Board of Peace meeting, Foreign Ministry. Russia will not be represented. That's what Maria Zakharova said. Russia will not be represented. Working on forming a position continues. Well, let me tell you who are in the board members. The board includes U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio. This is just a token to hide behind by these guys. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff. Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. I don't understand why this would be even there, these two anyway. Former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. Excuse me, Sir Tony Blair. And World Bank President Ayai Banga. Now, question. Isn't this guy a war criminal? I think he fits the criteria. I think, according to what happened in Iraq, which was a crime because it was based on a lie, you are a war criminal. All the crimes occurred over there due to your orders to invade and bombard that country were illegal, based on a lie. You can't just kill people and say, oh, my bad. Now, since I'm here, I'm going to just see what you got in your refrigerator. You can't do this, but I guess you can. All right, so this is the first one. The Russians are still considering forming their position. So they're not certain. For the reason I said, they will be at this board as they will first give the legitimacy to Israel and the Americans who will be in charge of this board. That means you are a subordinate. Why would Russia agree to be a subordinate? The structure of that council or peace board is the chief forever and ever, which is Trump, and probably his family, hereditary. And then the guys below, and who's in charge of Trump is in charge of everything else. And then everybody else is board members. I don't want to be a board member. I want to be the chief. Well, I'm not. I respect myself. I don't participate. That should be Russia's response. You don't make it like you are the one. You don't make it like this. You make it like a flat pyramid if you want. Why? Because I don't accept your hegemony. That's it. And since I can't impose my hegemony yet, I think I should be treated as an equal. If not, see where that gets you. You have what, 39, not even 30 countries, and nothing from Europe but Hungary or something? And it's strong and so on. I'm not saying the rest of the world doesn't matter, but they don't have any heavyweights. Trump has no heavyweights, and he has a lot of tyrants among those people over there, including, I'm not going to mention. I want to say Venezuela. Why? Because the delusional Milei is not a democratically inclined politician, if you want. All right. So this is a stupid question here coming from the Russia Today. Why didn't China protect Venezuela from the US? Beijing is regrouping to adapt to the new hemispheric world order, but not retreating from Latin America. So this is an expert, you see? That's why I said expert. Now, you can ask the questions, and why China didn't protect Venezuela from the US? I will ask this. Why didn't Russia protect Venezuela from the US? I'm listening. Why didn't China and Russia protect Venezuela from the US? My answer is they couldn't. They were too far away. I don't think they have the capabilities to do that. Maybe imagine how could the Chinese vessels, for instance, or get to Venezuela? If they travel, I don't know, through mama, not even through the Pacific, and then go to the Tierra del Fuego, or they can't support those guys. They could have helped before, and anticipate and bring some stuff over there. But Venezuela is the rotten political system over there, and you have a lot of traitors. Why? You can easily pay them. And that's exactly what happened with Maduro. He was just dumped by traitors. I mean, why is a traitor? A traitor is the person who works for a foreign agency, in this case, or foreign powers, interests, in order to undermine the current legitimate government of the country and status quo. Imagine someone here, let's say Mr. Grossberg. Mr. Grossberg, let's say he works for Mossad and he wants to overthrow Donald Trump and the system. But why would they do that since they own it? All right, let's go to the next one. So why didn't Russia? This is like a rhetorical. Why did you? The Americans are too close, you're too far. That's the point. They would have, but they got him before it grows. And in the meantime, they bring us this thing. Russia preparing oil lifeline to Cuba embassy. The move comes as the US seeks to cut off the island from energy supplies. This goes hand in hand with this one. Why didn't Russia? For the same reason, they are too far. I have to remind you, if you don't know, and I'm pretty sure you know, that the Americans are boarding Russian vessels with Russian flags attached to them, flying under the so-called shadow fleet, with impunity, like a pirate. The Brits said they will do that. And what do? I tell you, nothing. So let's say you send 2 oil tankers to Venezuela, all clear, under the Russian flag, sailing, zip, 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 over there. All recognized, not shadow fleet, beautiful fleet. Or let's say you send some, I don't know, you use something else. You use a tanker that is not under sanctions. So it's a clear tanker. And you put someone's oil, you purchase it from something that it's let's say it's the cleanest oil, the cleanest operation. And you send it towards Cuba and say, the tanker is not Russian, no shadow fleet. The flag under which this tanker goes is not Russian, is something else, not under US sanctions. The oil was purchased from, let's say, the United States of America, okay? Or something acceptable. So everything is clean. And this goes towards Cuba. The Americans will stop it. They will just hope you can't go in. Why? We don't like you. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? The Americans already did stuff in Venezuela, in Iran, even in Greenland, that already said, we don't care about international law. We care about this. What are you going to do about it? And the Russians did not do anything about their own thing. What do you think they're going to do for... No. So it's just a blah, 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 blah. I tell you the language these guys understand. And that is the bloody nose. Not Bloody Mary. Bloody nose kind of language these guys understand. Unless you are ready to be able to hurt them, they will not... and they have a very low tolerance of pain. I'm talking about the Westerners. So you don't have to equal it. You have to do something milder. They're going to cry like pussies. Why? Because they're pussies. The new generation, it is definitely. And they will inherit the beautiful countries your ancestors built. All right. Now, the French recognize something that we already knew. That is, the European Union screwed itself while they were sanctioning Russia's oil and gas because Russia is bad and we are good. Russian energy cut key to European Union's economic woes. I say, what the hell is that? That is great sorrow or distress. So yes, Macron, you wake up now? We all knew and you knew. But this was the plan. We're going to do this. Someone is going to take over. In the meantime, Russia collapses. Well, those took over, which is the LNG coming from the Americans. So they replaced the Russian, because when you can't compete, in the capitalist system, we're taught that when you can't compete, you don't try to design a better product and sell it at a better price, acceptable to the public, and make commercial and promote that product. No, you just go to the government and you tell the government to ban the competition. And when they ban the competition has no access on the market you are targeting, and you bring your shitty, more expensive product. Why? Because nobody else can compete with you. This is capitalism, American capitalism for them. For us, no. So these guys say, Oh, it hurts. Why? I told you it's going to be an order when the Western Union, not Western Union, the Western Europe, not the Eastern Europe, okay, they don't really care. Not care, they don't matter because they're not in charge. The West is in charge, which is London in this case, and Paris wants to play too, but they're not accepted into the, I don't know, the party yet. They receive an order, and the order is, well, let's switch. Now talk to Putin, talk to all these guys because they didn't collapse for 5 years, let's say. They're not going to collapse, it seems like. So what are we going to do? Let's change plan. And that's exactly what happens. This guy changed plan. Why? Because look what the French are doing now. The good people. We talked with the evil. Senior French diplomat visited Minsk. Minsk is the capital of Belarus, with the evil guy Lukashenko, who's a dictator, ruthless guy, almost as bad as Putin, to discuss possible dialogue resumption. Why? Why this? And why this? Why do you guys call it as it is? Because the order was given. It's a little revolution on the plantation. Could be, but I doubt they have the power. Might be the will. Say people, we don't like you. I don't say anything. Tyrant. It was not me. No. That's how they are at this point, where they call it, but they don't say, you know what? No, man. Even though there were some signs, you can't do anything. What are you going to do? Fight the man? All right. And here is the European Council trying to flex muscles. European Council President backs EU retaliatory steps against the United States tariff. Well, first, why did you agree with them? If you remember, in Scotland, Trump met with von der Leyen and she agreed. So the Americans will pay nothing, their products entering the European Union, and the European Union will pay what? 15% tariffs. So why did you accept that? European Council President Antonio Costa on Thursday supported the EU's retaliatory measures against US tariffs targeting bloc member states. In January, the European Parliament halted ratification of the EU-US trade deal. That's the one I was talking about in Scotland, golf course, Trump's golf course, after US President Donald Trump threatened duties on European allies opposing his Greenland stance. Last week, the European Union lifted the freeze and resumed to work. And I'm quoting, if some global actors, the United States of America, are challenging us with unfair competition, we need to react. Yeah, of course. If others are using trade as a threat, as an instrument of coercion, we need to use our tools. It seems like those guys are using the tool, which is Donald Trump, really good. So yeah, what are you going to do? You're going to retaliate? Yeah, it's a good start. You know, identify the problem and then plan to solve the problem. That's good. The problem is this. I have to mention this. I watched a video about, and I can't remember, it was an African country. I can't remember it. They were planning to go to the moon. I think it was in the 60s or something. And it was not a joke. They were serious about it. And they showed they were training the next astronauts or cosmonauts landing on the moon. And go and watch it. I can't remember. It was an African country. And it was the Ministry of Space or something. And he was training with the barrels down the hill. It was... That's the European Union right now. So yeah, you can want to do it, but you don't have the resources. Those guys want to go to the moon, but they didn't have the resources, and not only the material resources, but they didn't know anything about anything. Go and watch that video. I can't remember how it's called, but anyway, you can just say African countries moon landing program or something like that, and you're gonna find it. All right, and let's see how the Americans are doing this. You're my enemy, and I'm going to make everybody else consider you an enemy because I said so. Now, who wants to befriend this kind of person? Well, under threat, you're going to do it if you're not ballsy. But these are the countries of the good. Trump urged, this past tense, to drag Mexico. That means it happened sometime in the past. And we already know when because it's past tense. To drag Mexico and Canada into Chinese trade war, according to Reuters. Washington should force the neighboring countries to turn their backs on Beijing, a group of U.S. senators has said. 5 Democratic senators have urged U.S. President Donald Trump to use free trade agreement talks with Canada and Mexico to crack down on their import of Chinese electric vehicles. I watched last night a video. Last night I watched a video about five. Oh, where are you? I lost where my fucking 5 electric vehicles from China, and the price, how fast they are, the interior look very the way I like it, which is luxurious, and then a lot of things that the Europeans don't make or the Americans don't make, which is, plastic and all that. Now I don't know how reliable those are, because we're told here that the Chinese shit breaks. I mean, some does, like anything else, but nevertheless, and they were talking about the price, and that's the invasion of these luxurious Chinese EVs entering the Canadian market from, I think it was 30, the first one was 30, then was the second one like 60, then like 80, 100, and 200,000. It was luxury brands. And how these guys are going to threaten the American auto manufacturers, automotive. Why? Because these guys are protected. So then it's dangerous, because the trade deal that the Canadians signed with the Chinese, with the evil guys. After all, China is a communist country. Communism is totally against capitalism, okay? Two diametrically opposed ideologies. But nevertheless, China is not a communist country. I think it's a semi-tyrannical country, mimicking and using capitalism under direct control and supervision of these tyrants. Why? What kind of elections do you have over there? How many parties do you have over there? That's from the get-go, you have only one option. Hey, Americans are close, are going to get to that pretty soon. I think they are over there in de facto, but not de jure. That means de jure they have 2 parties, but de facto it's only one. So these guys want to threaten these guys, and these are the Democrats who are the liberal ones, which for me, it's a very contradictory term here. The liberals, the democratic. These are the communists. I know, it's very simplistic, but let's cut the crap. The communists. So how can you be a liberal and be a communist? He's not the leftist. Leftist is with social thing, take here, give to those that don't deserve equity, inclusion, all those things. That to me is very take from some like Robin Hood kind of thing. The other guys supposedly, remember, they do this only when it fits them being the guys in charge. Yeah, it's a 2-party system, are different, but they're allowed to be different to the extent of the group that controls it. That's it. They give us free enterprise and all that. Look how free enterprise worked in the European Union. The Americans said you gotta place sanctions on the Russians, so LNG, American LNG, can take your market, 20%. We want the Russians out, we come in. Because the Russians could blackmail you, but we will never blackmail you. All right? So again, these guys are trying to kick these auxiliary forces, kick them away from my enemy. Well, that's life. That's life. You gotta do it. So remember, the liberals, you wouldn't call the Democrats conservatives, right? So the opposite of conservatives is liberals. Liberals comes from liberty, freedom, right? More liberty. Maybe they say infringing liberty. That should be on the left. Infringing liberty, and the conservatives, not the liberals. Because these guys, if they have liberals, that means they should have less regulations. More regulations is control, not order. I said this a while ago about when I was a kid. I asked my father, what's the difference between the communist and the capitalist, or the Democrats over there and the tyrannical communist system here, and so on. What's the law? What's the difference? And he just gave me, I can't remember how old I was, maybe 10, 12. And he said, well, you see, in our laws here, they go like this. This is, no, he said over there in the West. He said, this is the way it is. You cannot do this. You cannot do A, B, C. Let's say about a dildo. You could, well, let's go with the glasses. You can do, okay, you cannot do this with the glasses. You cannot stab someone with the glasses. And that's it. That means everything else you can think of, you can do it, except this one thing. So you have the big freedom and you have this infringement, one rule. He said, here, they tell you one thing you can do with it, and that's it. Everything else that you might think of, you cannot do. Only that. This is the difference. I was like, okay. Now it seems like the liberals are more rules, And remember, it was Plato who said you can see the freedom of a city-state by how many laws it got. More laws, more freedom infringement. Why? Is if I tell you, go outside and play, that means you can fucking do anything you want. But if I say, go outside and play for an hour, I already infringed your liberty to play. Hey, play over there, but you need to wear a hat. I infringed it. And you need to wear a seat belt. Infringed it. So it's not the same thing as everything. No, I tell you what to do and to extend on how you go enjoy your outside playing. So I'm in charge of you. I dictate how life is. For benefit, your benefit, which is the seatbelt, which should not matter. Remember when they say, it's the common good. What's the common good if I wear a seatbelt or not? I tell you what it is. They dictate. Someone made money in the past, big money with when they said it's mandatory. We're going to protect you. I don't need to protect me. I'm a free human being, am I? No. So these are the guys. Anyway, and Americans are doing the same thing right now. They are infringing. And they tell us here in America, oh, you're entrepreneurs and you are the, how do they call it? The spirit of 1776. And it's just garbage, man. It's just garbage. It's gutter. That's what it is. Or the spirit of the frontier. If the Americans will still have the spirit of the frontier, those guys in Washington would be already, hanged or something. But they're not. Why? They took care of this with the schools, with the mass media, with the Hollywood. They washed up, they pussified the society. Not all of it, but not how it was. But they still tell you, you're good, man, you're good. Well, put me in front of that guy and see how good I am. Oh, no, I tell you you're good without doing it. This is what they do with these guys. You're good, you have the spirit, you have this, you're strong, you're exceptional, but don't try it. Don't get in a scuffle. No, because you're going to realize you get fucked up in the first half of a second. Well, thank you very much for being with me again today. I was going now into many, many other things. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.